Hey everyone, welcome back to Low Luxury, the channel where I show you what authentic luxury clothing and streetwear looks like. Today, I've got my hands on a piece by a brand that I've had on my wish list for a long time. I've just been, on all the clothing websites just salivating over their stuff saying, someday I will get one of those. And today, I finally got it. So we are taking a look at a crazy piece by the brand WACKO Maria, also sometimes called Guilty Parties, depending on who you ask. They are an awesome Japanese clothing brand, streetwear for sure, or at the least streetwear adjacent. They do awesome pattern stuff, but also more down-to-earth stuff. Obviously, this is one of the pattern pieces, a really cool knit cardigan, and I'm so excited to check it out, so let's get into it. But first, I've looked into it, and a very small percentage of you are actually subscribed to the channel. It's completely free. Just press that button, and you will not regret it. Thank you so much. So there you have it. I would say this is very much a kind of staple piece from them, one that showcases what they do so well. Now, I had a lot of opportunities to just grab like a simple t-shirt or something from them, but I told myself no, I really want to hold out till I can get one of those classic pieces from them that shows off their use of patterns and stuff like that. So I'm really glad I did because I love this piece. But before we go any further, we've got to start by checking out the retail tags that come with this piece. So this right here is like a nice thick piece of cardstock. It's really hard for me to bend very much at all. And then printed on there, you can kind of feel the letters a little bit, but I think it's just from the black print. You've got Guilty Parties, and that is in all caps going across. It takes up most of the width of this. And interestingly, it looks like it's not perfectly centered. It's actually centered between the right side and the hole, rather than the left side and the right side, if that makes sense. And on the back of that, it's blank, but then we get this big vertical sticker here that takes up almost the whole tag. So up at the top, you've got that Guilty Parties print once again. Then you get our model number, starts off with this season, looks like spring, summer 19. And then we get a colorway, black. Obviously, this is a lot more than black, but I guess the underneath color is correct. Size, this one is a medium. We'll talk about the sizing a bit later. And then what it's made out of. In Japan, they always seem to call that quality for whatever reason. And that one is 100% cotton, which is actually interesting for a knit like this. You don't get cotton too often. So we'll talk about that as well and what that feels like. You get a price, which is blank. You may or may not have one. I'm guessing they leave that blank just for the retailer to put in what they're charging. And then at the bottom, their website, which, as you can see, is wackomaria.co.jp. And then that's attached with this woven silver string to a gold safety pin. Two colors that you don't see too often for this stuff. Now let's take a look at the brand tag at the back of the neck. So as you can see, it is this kind of white tag, fairly artificial, canvasy, papery feeling, I would say. And then printed on there, it doesn't feel like it's stitched in. So I'm pretty sure to screen printed on there in black, the Guilty Parties, Outrageous Ink, Paradise Tokyo. So these are kind of some famous mottos from them. You'll see it on a lot of their pieces. They do a lot of Western style pieces where they'll stitch in these kind of sayings on the back or at the chest, something like that. And then this tag, you can see it's just nice and cleanly stitched down in white on all four sides. And you can start to see that stitching coming through the back, but it is barely visible. You can see the rectangle of the tag, but that's about it. You can't even see the stitches, I'd say. And now we got to take a look at the care tags that are inside the sweater. So these would be on your left side if you were wearing the piece, and you can see that they're really cleanly stitched into that side seam in white there. So the first thing you get is another canvasy piece of white paper, and it's got the same print for the most part. So Guilty Parties, Paradise Tokyo, no outrageous ink, and then in all caps at the bottom, made in Japan. And it looks like that text is getting progressively smaller as it goes down line by line. On the back of that, you have the company name, WACKO Maria Co. Ltd. And a little saying, there's always sunshine in my heart. How sweet. And then under that, we get a nice glossy, plasticky, soft loop tag. And then printed on there in black, you got a size, again, medium, 100% cotton. It's always good to see that stuff match up with what's on the retail tag. You've got 6 washing symbols there in sets of 4 and then 2. Then again, that company information, I guess a phone number, and once again, made in Japan. And on the back of that, you get essentially that same exact information, but in Japanese this time. And that's it. That's all you get for the care tags. Very, very simple and straightforward and to the point. Now we got to take a look at all the unique details of this piece. I'm so psyched to get into this. So first, let's start with the obvious. Let's start with the body and all this knit pattern work here. So obviously, it's this kind of tropical floral stuff, but there's some really interesting stuff going on here. And you can see even the base knit has all of these colors included, the greens and blues and reds and yellows. It's all in here for them to pull out when they need just those colors. It's really, really cool. And I like that you can see all those elements even in the black, quote unquote, black underneath. So you can really see each stitch here, the patterns, they have kind of like a pixelated effect to them where the curves and things, they're just taking like these single stitches out to move and curve and things, so you can see the size of each stitch there. The neckline is in this, it's a straight black kind of like mesh ribbed material, and the buttons are a nice, really glossy black plastic, as you can see. The cuffs are pretty long, and they're also that ribbed fabrication here. You also get that same kind of trim for the pockets. Love that this piece has front pockets here, I gotta say. Down at the bottom right, you've got another patch here, and this one looks like it's that same material as the brand tag at the back of the neck, but actually this time this is stitched into there, the text. You can see the difference. So Guilty Parties, Paradise, and that's again stitched in on all four sides. The hem is also again pretty long and ribbed just like that cuff. And you can see that the stitching at these like connections from the body to the arm, they're nice and clean, and they don't actually leave any visible stitching there. It's all invisible essentially. And on the inside of that piece, you can see all of those colors coming through, and I think it's honestly absolutely beautiful. You can also see that they've got the fabric, the inside fabric for the pockets that go onto the outside. And one little effect that I think is so small but so smart is, do you see right at the corners these single pieces of like yarn? They've put those there going to the hem so that these pockets stay put and stay tight to the piece itself, so they're not just like flopping around inside, which is so small, but it's so cool. And again, even from the inside, I just want to point out one more time how clean the construction is, and that just taking a look at this stuff can really help you out, because you can see how kind of aligned everything is, and it's the same length no matter where you look. So if there's anything weird or wonky or pieces are a lot longer than other pieces, again, it's always a bad sign. So now that we've checked all of that out, let's try this piece on to see how it feels and see how it fits. So let's talk about the feel of it first, because as we mentioned, this is 100% cotton, which I would say is actually on the rarer side for like a knit or a cardigan or anything like that, right? Usually those would be made out of some sort of wool or an artificial type of wool, like acrylic or something like that. But this one is cotton, and it does give it a unique feel. So it's like mid-weight, I would say, not super light, but not super heavy either. It's relatively comparable to a wool knit. It just feels a little tighter and more solid to the knit, and also certainly less scratchy than a wool would be. When it comes to the fit, I got myself a size medium here, even though I'm generally a true to size small. And the reason I did that is because Japanese brands tend to size things smaller than American brands. So I've found it's safer to size up when you're buying from a Japanese brand. So that's what I did here. And in the end, I would say this actually generally fits like a true to size American medium. I don't know if that's because they tend to fit things in a more Western way, or because a cardigan is a piece that you generally have fit a little looser. So I can't answer that, but all I can say is that for this particular piece, a medium feels like a US medium. So overall, I'm really happy with the fit of this piece. I love the feel of it, and obviously the look of it. You can't beat it. There's nothing else out there like it, and it's so authentic and true to the brand and what they're all about. So that is how you tell the difference between real and fake WACKO Maria clothing. take a look at the other video on screen here, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you next time.